Hey everyone, and welcome back to another CZN video. So in today's video, guys, I wanted to go over Khalipe. This character is so good. She can be slotted in anywhere. I truly think that you can run her and Mika and then flex in any character you want. It doesn't even need to be a damage dealer, and you're going to be able to clear a lot of really hard content. So I did want to go over her today. I don't really pay attention to tier lists or like reroll guides. I never was into that, but if I were to guess, I'm guessing this character was one of the reroll targets because she's just that good. I pulled her and I was reading her kit and I was just like, holy cow, this character is nuts. So we will talk about, some combatants or other characters you should run alongside her. But like I said, I think you can run her in everything because her deck is just absolutely stacked. So let's talk about her cards real quick. So her starting cards, Lashing and Tear's Vow, I would say are the ones that you're most likely going to eventually remove from your deck if you have the possibility to. I'm usually prioritizing other characters to remove their cards before hers because even though these cards are subpar, I do see myself using them from time to time. The Upward Slash, though, is a great basic card. It's a pretty decent multiplier on an AoE, which I think is somewhat lacking in the game, so that's nice. And then her signature card is Vulture Ejection. It's got a really cool ability in Heaven, where this instantly activates if you use a 2-cost card. It's awesome. Even though it's 3 AP, you're activating it for free whenever you use a 2-cost card. Now, the thing is, you can pair her with other characters that, have higher cost abilities, but she herself has plenty of things in her deck that can trigger this. So you don't necessarily need to run her alongside, a high damage dealing, high AP cost kind of character. You can run her with a Rin that does really low cost stuff, and then you can have her support her own cards. But Vulture Ejection, very good. It's an AoE defense-based damage. And then the baseline, you also get a shield. So you get some DPS along with support. And then you get this other thing, which is in her mechanic called Silver Veil. It's similar to Rin's Dark Mist stance, where it's unique to her. But you acquire 1 Silver Veil every time you activate this. And if you eventually get 3, you do a big 400% defense-based AoE to all enemies. And there's other cards in our kit that also can have Silver Veil on them. So this is also a really cool mechanic. But she just spams attacks out of nowhere. Sometimes she can get 3 attacks off or 4 attacks off if this is timed correctly, with multiple copies of Vulture Ejection and then triggering the Silver Veil ability. So in regards to the Epiphanies, this is just, some higher based damage, but you do remove the shield. This is just a shield, but it's very high shield. You still get the Silver Veil. This is the same thing, 153% defense, 122% shield, so a little bit higher shield on this one. This is a retainable shield, so if you don't activate this, the shield will grow. That's kind of cool, but my favorite has been the 30% shield for each card in hand. You'll see other cards in her kit allow you to keep a bunch of cards in your hand, and if you pair her alongside Mika or Cassius or Nia, you can draw so many different cards. You can have hand sizes of 10 sometimes, and I think that's the max, whatever the max is. So this shield can be beefy, but this is the one I would highly recommend. I would say the other one here in the middle is probably pretty decent too. I think the DPS along with the shield is very, very useful. So awesome card. So the Greatsword Aquila is the first special card that we're looking at here. So it's an AoE card with 1 AP cost, but then it says if you have Vulture Ejection, the card we just looked at, in your hand, the cost goes up to 2, and you increase the damage by 100%. This allows you to activate Vulture Ejection. Remember, because this is 1 cost, but Vulture Ejection has that Heaven ability, which only triggers on 2-cost cards. So this will give you enough AP cost to trigger it, which is awesome. So really cool, just high damage dealing card that also activates your vulture ejection. So when it comes to the Epiphany, you can just get some higher scaling abilities here. So just increases your defense-based damage. This one is just maximum damage without needing vulture ejection in your hand to activate this. But at the same time, it does cost an additional AP. This one grants you the AoE, and if vulture ejection is in your hand, you get another Silver Veil. So this is where you can start stacking up the Silver Veil AoE nukes. I really like this one. This one, AoE, plus if you don't use it that turn, Retain is also very, very good. Like, Retain's a strong ability because if you're using a bunch of cards or you have a bunch of cards in your hand but you don't have enough AP, you can time it and strategize your combos for next turn. So the Retain here is 60% additional damage on the next used vulture ejection. So this is pretty nice as well. And then this one has Retrieve 3. So you can use this, activate vulture ejection for the 100%, and then you get it back from your graveyard up to 3 times. This one is also awesome. The two I tend to go for, or I guess the ones that I try and work around, is certainly the Retrieve, which I've only gotten once and I failed the run, so that stunk. But this one's also very good. I love adding Silver Veil onto this. It's just a really great ability to start spamming that. So Overpower is just a huge shield, and then you're also reducing tenacity. Remember, I had a video on tenacity talking about how breaking characters is super important. It reduces damage. It also reduces stress. And it gives you more AP. So this is a kind of underrated card. The 2 cost is a little bit high, but you'll see some of the last cards that we go over, like retaining cards in your hand is very easy with Khalipe. So from the Epiphany side, you have increased shield. And then for Ravaged Enemy, you also get 1 damage reduction. So Ravaged Enemy is someone who has had the tenacity bar completely removed. So if this skill, or if this card reduces the tenacity bar down to 0 and you put them in the ravaged state, you'll also have reduced damage. This one I tend to pick a lot as well. Nice shield, and it says if enemies are ravaged, you get 2 vulnerable on them, but if not, you also weaken them. Because there's plenty of times where you use the Overpower skill and you won't break the bar. Because you're throwing Khalipe in any kind of team composition. And remember, like, she's light. So if you're throwing her in everything, there's probably going to be a lot of times where she's not the affinity that the enemy is weak to. So I really like this one. This is same shield, but you get 2 tenacity bars on everyone, so that's pretty good. This one is for each card in hand. You get additional shield, so this can be a huge shield. And then this one is +5 action count to all enemies. This one's also quite underrated, but literally every single one of these are fine. I would say the weakest one is probably the middle, but overall, all of the Epiphanies on this one are super good. Rally's quite cool, especially if you're using Khalipe only as your main DPS, because Rally can go and grab the vulture ejection. So 122% shield and draw your highest cost card. On the Epiphany, it grants you a Silver Veil. You can draw a Heaven card, which vulture ejection is 1, right? This is 153% shield, draw the highest cost card, 1 Silver Veil, and it has Heaven. So it will itself activate on a 2 cost card, even though you increase the 2 AP. This is also somewhat beneficial because if you have the vulture ejection in your hand, it's going to trigger it as well while you then go and get another vulture ejection. You also have some drawing capabilities here. You're gaining shield equal to the card's cost. So you're not drawing the most expensive card with this one, but if you're running this particular Epiphany in a deck with another high AP cost character, you could get a pretty decent shield out of this, and it still has Silver Veil. This one is also interesting. 153% shield. You choose one card costing 2 or more from your draw pile. So you can just search through your deck for any card that costs 2 or more. This is also great if you're running her like alongside a high AP cost damage dealer. So this is another one where it's just all of these are pretty good. This one's quite specific. This one is very combo oriented, but you don't get the Silver Veil. I tend to lean more towards the Silver Veil because I just love the sub DPS aspect of Khalipe. And then the last one, like this card, is just absolutely insane. So it has the ability of Finale, where if you use it, your turn ends. But at the same time, you're granting yourself this huge shield, and you grant retain to every single card in your hand. And it's not just hers, like every single card from all of your characters. So this is why, some of the epiphanies that we've seen that like scale off of the amount of cards in your hand, this is why, because this card right here can make your hand size huge, and the shield is awesome. So yeah, just really, really great stuff out of Khalipe. And then her ego skill is an AoE, and you create 1 Vulture Ejection. So you add Vulture Ejection to your deck, which is awesome. So yeah, more Silver Veils, more AoEs, just pretty crazy stuff. Okay, so the current partner that I have on her is Rachel, which is whenever you gain shield, it's increased by 15. And whenever you gain a shield, you have a 30% chance to gain counterattack. I really love counterattack in this game, and there's another character that I want to build up to utilize with Khalipe because I think they'd be pretty fun. But this is a good just general vanguard. It doesn't really give you any damage out of like adding defense or anything like that. This is more of a support kind of vanguard. There is another vanguard character here in Wilhelmina, where the defense is increased by 18%, and if the assigned combatant targets a vulnerable enemy, 15% defense-based damage. So you get more of that. The ego skill here is pretty good. Like, it's additional damage and defense. And remember, like, you're reducing tenacity on the enemies with that one shield card that reduces the tenacity bar. So this is a pretty good pairing, but I do like the support in this just for the counterattack. And then also from the shields, I like making her shields really big. And then on top of that, drawing one with a shield is pretty good to trigger the chance of the counterattack. So the save data that I currently have on her is really nothing special. You know, I'm in the 50K. I play this game whenever I can, but I'm slowly trying to build up some characters to give you guys some stuff. So I got some pretty cool epiphanies here. So you see here on the Vulture Ejection, I'm using the 30% shield for each card in my hand. The Overpower skill, I told you that I tend to prioritize the vulnerable and weaken. The rally side, I didn't have any epiphany on there, or didn't save. The Greatsword, I got double fortitude. So this was a special epiphany that gave me the 2 fortitude. And then I was able to duplicate it, so that was cool. This is a boss card. You can tell by the fancy rainbow stuff here. So 148% shield, and at the start of the next turn, all enemy counts +2. For a cost of 1, I kind of like. I tend to use this right before I go into absolute protection. And then I also have Protective Shout, which is just a huge shield with additional damage reduction. So I have Second Method. I have Cloud Walking Shoes. And then I also have Quantum Collector. So from her potential side, I only have like the minimum things. I do have this potential over here, which I had mentioned. And then what was the last thing? Oh yeah, she's baseline here on Manifest Ego. And then from a memory fragment perspective, I think the way you want to build her is with some high damage. So you want a defense set. I think max HP is fine. And then you probably want like a crit damage set. Up here, I think you certainly want crit rate over crit damage, but I am very lean on memory fragments right now. Instinct damage is okay. And then defense. So I think you really want to prioritize defense. I don't know if you can get defense in this slot. I saw this the other day. Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, so you can't get defense here. So you could either put health or you could put instinct damage. So I kind of like the piece that I have on her here, the instinct damage. Here, I think I'd rather go crit rate, and then the defense is fine here. But yeah, so HP defense and maybe like crit damage. Or you could just do defense, and then you can do the set that if you have 4 or more cards in your hand, you get... Oh, they have the breakdown here, I think. Sorry, I know I'm fumbling around here. It's not a passion card. It's like if you have 4 or more cards in your hand or something like that. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. This is so frustrating. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. There's a set that if you have 4 or more cards in your hand or 5 or more cards in your hand, you do additional damage. So we'll go into simulation and we'll show you. Let's go farm that piece up right now. How about that? This one. If you have 4 or more cards, 15% instinct card damage. So we will farm here. The team that I'm using for this one is Beryl. I really like Beryl as well. So she's a high DPS character, but she also has some retain in her kit as well, so you can kind of combo some pieces. You also have Mika. Mika is there just for the AP. Like, we have some very high damage costing cards in here. Beryl is rocking some pretty decent damage scaling abilities. So let's take him for a run, and I'll basically show you, Khalipe in action, and then we'll get out of here. So up here is the Vulture Ejection, Silver Veil abilities. So let's try and come across some of those cards. And we'll show you what that's all about. So we're just doing a bunch of crazy damage with our team here, which is pretty fun. Okay, so here's the Vulture Ejection. Sadly, we do not have a 2-cost card right now, so we can't activate it, but we eventually will before this runs over, I'm assuming. But shields are basically her whole thing, really mitigate your damage. I mentioned at the beginning that your defense scales off of that. So here we'll use Overpower. We'll put some Weaken up on the boss, and then we'll use Vulture Ejection. So Vulture Ejection is going to go off, and that's where you see that little Silver Veil ability right there at the top. So we only have 1, but whenever 3 of these activate, that's when we'll be able to use the Silver Veil ability. That's when it will trigger. So there, we use that ultimate skill that just kept every single card in our hand. And the nice thing is just you loop back around to everything so fast, we'll eventually come back around, to our Vulture Ejection. So we'll just put it on auto until this all triggers. I want to show you the big AoE. I'm trying not to kill this boss before that happens. So we'll trigger another Vulture Ejection here. We'll get it in our hand from the ultimate, which is really nice. So there's 2 stacks. We won't use our cards. We'll try and draw the other one. But here, we're pairing her up with a character that has other retain cards. So if we're not able to use all of our AP right now, we can either get the retain from barrel, or we can retain the cards with this absolute protection. So you're just like creating this huge shield as you gain all the necessary cards in your hand to eventually combo off. Okay, so here we'll use the Greatsword. It'll go off. Vulture Ejection will go off. And then Silver Veil triggers up here 3 times, and there's the huge ult. So, yeah, that's like her whole shtick. Pretty awesome, but I can't underestimate or undersell how important shields are in Chaos. I had mentioned in prior other videos, but I will mention it again here. Shield prevents you from taking stress, and managing stress is certainly the most important thing that you can do. So yeah, can't go underutilized. And if you pair her with Mika, you know, she's just, you have all these huge heals, you have tons of AP, you have all the retain possibilities. It's just nuts. So other characters that I think she pairs really well with is Maribel. This is one of the characters that I want to utilize her with. Maribel has some counterattack in her kit along with additional shielding, but she also has this really cool Shelter Strike ability for 1 AP cost, where fixed damage is equal to your shield owned, and you can make huge shields with Khalipe. Alongside Maribel, she also has a 350% shield in her ego skills. So the partner that I was showing on Khalipe is actually better on Maribel, and then we would switch over the other Vanguard for more of a damage dealing ability. But yeah, so Maribel is one of the characters I definitely want to try. And if I ever pull Magna, Magna's kind of the same thing. You know, she has crystallization. She has counterattack as well. So you're gaining shield. You're reducing your damage. You have counterattack. She's also putting, like, vulnerability on everybody. So there's a couple characters like that. But like I said, she's kind of just good with every single character in here because she can be your DPS. She can support your DPSs. She's just there for huge shielding and just crazy damage output out of nowhere. So that's what I got, guys. If you have Khalipe, you know, let me know some of the crazy builds you have. I know some of the people that have been commenting on my videos have talked about, like, being able to clear stage 10 on Zero system, even free to play or like super low spend. So that's like really impressive, and I'm really interested. So as always, appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you.